Good morning. How are we doing? I'm 2 minutes early, but that's all right. Because who sets these times? Who cares? Dana Williams says, come on, Damon, I'm burning battery. Well, here I am. Good morning, everybody. Figured I would jump on this morning since we didn't get to see each other last night. Due to the goings-on in Arizona. Good morning, everybody. Welcome on in, wherever you're watching. Merry Christmas. 5 days away. Jinx, good morning. From the land of the blues and the barbecue. Good morning from Connecticut, Jerry Brown, my old stomping grounds. Virginia, good morning. Hello, Sue. Good morning. Ruby, good morning. Steve, Joyce, Jim. Good morning, everybody. Bill, Elizabeth, welcome on in. How's everybody doing? Damon, you say shut it down. Let's just jump right in. Come on. Listen, I think what's going on is, I know people don't see it this way right now. I think it's very long overdue. We've been on the wrong side of this for as long as I've been doing this show. I think this fight is long overdue. I don't think we should run from it. We should encourage it. And governing is messy. And specifically given the situation we're in. You know, it hasn't been all roses. Going even back to the founding fathers, they fought over many, many things. And I think the key first thing I think about when I see this back and forth to this morning and everybody trying to take a position, some of them are just completely nonsensical. But even still, the reason we're here is because we finally have somebody like President Trump. And we have guys like Mike Lee, Chip Roy, others who actually believe what they say they believe in when it at least comes to fiscal responsibility. I don't care about anything else. All these people writing me about what he did, how he felt about this subject, what he said about that subject, what he wore, what he did 4 years ago, 2 years ago, 3. The only thing I care about, his position right now, is what we're talking about right now, which is supposedly for 10 years what we have bitched and complained about with Republicans being feckless and weak and having no backbone, having no spine. And now we have guys like Trump and we have guys like Roy, and this is what's happening, and it's long overdue. The reason we have them is because before we had guys like this, we had guys that were terrible, that absolutely sucked. That is what we have been blanketed with for most of the time that I have been involved in following this stuff. It's been one pathetic loser after another who don't believe in anything they actually say. They have no courage of their convictions. Zero. And when you have feckless leaders for long enough, eventually you're going to turn to something else. And we did in 2016. And we have now again in 2024. And each one of them represents something. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that right now they're whatever. Fight, whatever you want to call this. I don't even call it fighting. I think it's debating, and I think it's a healthy debate that needs to be had. $36 trillion in fiscal operating debt is non-sustainable for your kids and their kids. It is a disaster in the making that I have said for a long time nobody wants to address. Well, now it looks like we are going to finally address it. Does that equal all of a sudden you don't support President Trump? Does that equal all of a sudden you want President Trump to fail? Is that equal all of a sudden President Trump is the man not doing the work? Does that mean he's not all of a sudden? No, it does not at all mean that. It doesn't at all mean that. I think both sides need to understand where both sides are coming from. And the arguments I'm getting from people writing in, I've responded to some of them, but some of them I just can't. Here's my question. What is the America First, Make America Great Again, Republican conservative position on spending as of today? That's all I want to know. I don't want to know about. I want to know what our position is on spending. Because for 10 years of doing this show, I have listened to people call in, write me emails, tweet me, send me messages, go on social media, go on television, and talk about, hey, Republicans, they're going to cave one more time. They're going to cave one more time. And you know what the subject matter is? Every time I got those messages, it was on the debt ceiling. It was on the debt ceiling. Republicans are going to cave one more time. How many times have I said on the show, I am so sick of seeing Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer kick our ass around in these negotiations on the debt ceiling. Let's be honest. The debt ceiling is like it's like a trans debt ceiling. It's not really a debt ceiling. Okay, so I mean, again, let's at least recognize the position we're in as we're arguing these things. The trans debt ceiling that we have, that is not really a debt ceiling, because I think we've raised it, I don't know, 100 times or something to that effect. So there's many things that have led to the debate we have to now have. And as far as shutdowns go, we've been through this before. I saw a comment while the warm-up music was playing about, well, if it shuts down, people who don't, the military or Social Security benefits don't, that all still goes out. We've talked about what happens in the shutdown. That stuff doesn't stop. Social Security checks go out, military stuff goes out, VA stuff goes out. That's, I believe, I could go back and find some old shows or some old clips when we've really gone through it. And I think we've gone through like the numbers of things and what the order is that go out. And I think it's that. I think those exactly is the order. Social Security, military, VA benefits are the top three that still continue to go out. That doesn't stop. 17% of the government actually shuts down in a shutdown. There have been many shutdowns before, many of them. We've gone through them before. There was actually a piece, shockingly enough, in the Washington Post that actually did a pretty good job of going through what happens when the government actually shuts down, what is actually shutting down. And again, if you think that we can't live without Washington being fully active, I mean, we've just gone 4 years, basically, effectively. Now we're being told by the New York Times. Now we're being told we went 4 years basically without a president even running the country. So when you talk about the government shutting down, remember that it's your local government that has the most effect on what happens. So if the government was to shut down on Friday night, it's going to be shut down this weekend anyways. And by the way, it's going to be shut down. It's going to be effectively mainly shut down until January 2nd, if not till January, until new Congress takes over. But you have 50 state governments, by the way, that will not. 50 state governments will not shut down. They will operate just fine. 3,000 county governments across this country will operate just fine. Municipalities across this country will operate just fine. Townships will operate just fine. Your school districts will operate just fine. The mentality that we need to have this kind of crap sandwich tossed down our throat because, we can't shut the government down is utterly nonsensical. As a lot of the arguments are nonsensical. And from people who over the years, this is what I just have to chuckle at. People who for years have said that this is something that they believe in, that our fiscal responsibility has got to get in check, that the spending has to stop, that the debt is unsustainable. And now because the idea is coming from Trump Vance, seemingly all of that now is off the table. Now it's like, how dare any of you vote against this? You're a bunch of rhinos. I just can't even square those two. What do you believe in? You only believe in it if he believes in it? You only believe in it if they believe in it? Or do you actually believe in it? That's what I don't get. And then people veer off into all this other stuff. He's Chip Roy. He said this. Or he said that. He supported George Floyd. I've seen everything. And then, of course, I respond with the letter that President Trump wrote after George Floyd died. And then people don't respond. They forget about that. Nobody had the facts back then. But that's what you're going to go hold on? How about this? How about you tell me what your position is on spending? Like what you believe in. Not like the flavor of the day or who's on what team or what boat's going to what location. I want to be on that one. What do you believe that we should continue to deficit spend at $1 trillion every 100 days? If you do, then you do. If you don't, then you don't. But that shouldn't change based on who's telling you what they want to do. Chip Roy's not a conservative. Oh, really? Okay. Maybe there's some things you've disagreed with him, but I can go to the Heritage Foundation, unless you're telling me they're a bunch of rhinos too, and I can actually look at how he voted on spending bills. I don't care what he said about whether he wore a mask or what he said about this or who he supported or what he thought about A.G. Paxton at the time or what he thought about Liz Cheney at the time. Because a lot of people thought a lot of things at the time. Given the hindsight of time, you can look back and say, okay, maybe he was wrong. But I can go back and look at every single vote he took, black and white, on spending. I can see Heritage rates him at an A+ 100% on fiscal responsibility. And that is what we're talking about right now. So if you don't align with Chip Roy and you think he's a rhino, then please tell me what your position is on spending in this new Make America Great Again, America First world moving forward for 4 years. And then what representative in Congress aligns most with your ideas on spending, and then let's go look them up and their voting history. That's it. That's the debate. I don't understand the arguments. All this other nonsensical stuff that doesn't deal with what we're talking about now. I see other people on this network, on Real America's Voice, saying, we got to primary these 36, 37 people who voted against this out. What? It's 2024. I've been doing this since 2015. For the last 9 years, you've been telling me we need more of these guys. These are the only guys that have a backbone. These other ones, boy, they keep caving. Today, we need to primary these 36 out. It's like whiplash. Whiplash is really a real thing in flavor of the day politics. It really is. It's like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. I put this up. And again, I like following a lot of these accounts. Cat Turd. He's a good follow. Just so you know, as usual and predictable, Republicans will fold like a cheap tent on the debt ceiling today. Why? So they can take another long holiday weekend vacation from being absolutely worthless and doing nothing. Also, same guy. Trump won the biggest landslide in history and has a mandate. And he doesn't have a mandate to spend like a drunken Marxist. Any Republican going against him now, we're going to end your career and defeat you soundly in your primary. Number one on the list, that POS, loudmouth, Trump-hating, backstabbing loser, Chip Roy. Let's go back to this time when the last debt ceiling. Oh, Chip Roy is impressive. Back in 23 when we were fighting over the debt ceiling. I don't know. So what again, what is our position on spending? What's our position on Bidenflation? What's our position on inflation? I don't know. I thought I knew what it was. Maybe I don't know what it is. Maybe people don't have a problem with this. We've said all along people don't want to talk about it. Maybe we don't have maybe we don't really have any real desire to cut spending. I know this. The problem we've complained about, or I've complained about for the most with the Republican Party, is that we are not as interested in actual outcomes as we are in the whole show. And this is a perfect example of it. We're focused on the show. We're focused on the personalities. Everybody complaining about Chip Roy's complaining about George Floyd, Liz Cheney, wearing a mask, getting fired up and saying something about MAGA people back during COVID. He cursed on some show about somebody, who knows what it was. But I don't hear any talk about the actual issue at hand. The position he's taking today on this subject. What is your position if it's not aligned with him on this subject today? That's what I want to know. And I'll tell you what else I want to know. While we're talking about it and getting it all out there, why don't we get out what our position is on illegal immigration? Because as far as I know, illegal immigration and crossing the border was the number one issue that people voted on. That and inflation going forward. So let me just put it out there because nobody else will. When the Trump administration, and they have already leaned this way, just recently on NBC Meet the Press with Kristen Welker, when President Trump comes out and says we need to make a deal with the Dreamers, and he comes out and says every college graduate should have a green card, and I come out and say that's a absolutely terrible idea, Is everybody going to tell me that I'm a rhino who needs to be retired? Just what's the cheat sheet going forward is what I want to know on these issues. We can't disagree at all and say things are bad without saying, oh, so you don't like them. When he says every college graduate should get a green card, is that our position? And then they overstay, and then they're here basically illegally. So it's a more polished way of getting here other than just crossing the border? Is that, we're going to be for that? Because that's what they're going to be for? And then if you've all this time believed that that's not right, you're going to just change your mind and say, no, I'm okay. I'm for that. If that's what they want, yeah, that's good. Anybody opposing that's no good. Is that just tell me in advance? Good morning, Nancy. Because that's going to be the next one. Let's go to see what you're saying. Let me go back a little bit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The problem is we can agree to disagree with anyone. That is what has gone wrong. Chip was on Newsmax. He is okay with what President Trump is saying, and they were totally in communication all day. He doesn't hold a grudge. Well, why would he hold it? Again, I don't think any of this is personal. I don't think it's personal, and I don't think he's changing his position because he actually believes in his position. But we don't want that. I guess we want more people who don't believe in their position. I don't. It's. Well, of course, that's the answer to everything, right? Separate individual bills, which, of course, the Republicans keep telling us they're going to do every time they get power. Again, it's like every time they get power, they get on the stage and the lights come on, and then they fall into the pit, onto the musicians' heads because they don't know how to be in power. But I just can't help but laugh at all of the people who have over the years screamed and yelled about weak ass Republicans and how they cave on the debt ceiling. I mean, go somebody who's out there in conservative talk radio, media, X personalities, and are now screaming about how the 38 who voted against this are terrible people. Go to their actual X profile, and there's a little search thing at the top where you can search all their history and just type in debt ceiling. And then go through everything they said for the last however many years are there. You'll find some unbelievable whiplashing going on. Because the guy at the top now, they have some. I don't know what it is. People say it's like cultish behavior. I don't want to say it's like that bad. It's not. I don't know what it is though. It is strange. It's like it's either 100% bow at the altar of everything they come out with, like they could never ever have a bad idea. This black and white, like either you agree with everything or you're not a supporter. You think everything they do is good or you're not a conservative. You think everything they say is perfect and you must agree. It really does have a tinge of leftism to it, which is really, it's just weird. Like you can't disagree and still be a supporter, like on an individual thing. It's just strange. Well, what's everybody's opinion on that? What it seems is that if people go against what Trump puts out, the base seems to immediately label them the opposition, and when in reality they're voicing what their electorate or followers or whatever want. Yeah, or it's just what they've always believed in, and they actually have the courage of their convictions of what they believe in to stick to it. Who said that, Damon? I don't know. I get probably, on average, we probably get 300-400 emails a night. And I would say in weeks like this where there's real active discussion about policy, where I'm taking a stand on something specific, I don't know, no lie, 90% of them tell me that I'm a Trump hater. 90%. You see it in the chat. It happens during the show, too. Let's see what else is going on here. I mean, I guess the other thing I just kind of chuckle at, and it's not funny, but like, at what number do people? Is there a number that people start to think what we're doing? You know, this is 40 trillion. Is there a number where people start to think, you know, how do we ever come back from this? I mean, Trump only has 4 years. I mean, the argument that well, we have to do this because he has an agenda. Well, I thought like the number one agenda was like Doge. I thought 2 trillion in waste was what the Wall Street Journal put out. If we have to continue to suspend the debt ceiling to complete the agenda, well, what's the agenda exactly? Nothing. It's just impossible to offset spending. There's nothing. Like, I don't propose to understand every in and out and minutia of the debt ceiling. I don't think we even technically have a debt ceiling right now, because I think the Republicans voted to give Biden no debt ceiling, which is why I think when they said we're just going to push the debt ceiling out to 27, technically, again, the minutia of the words of whether you want to say they raised it or they didn't raise it, because it's a trans ceiling anyways. It's not really a ceiling. So they just said, well, we'll just continue to have no ceiling until 27, and we need that to. It makes you want to pull your hair out, quite frankly. Well, no, Trump, he's got to do the tax cuts, and he's got to do this, and we got to build the wall, and we got to do this, and we got. So what number do people start to think? 30, 40 trillion, 50 trillion. You start thinking about the world your kids and your grandkids and their kids, your great grandkids are going to grow up in. When does it matter? I thought for conservatives it mattered a long time ago, like even in the Obama years. And now we have the same conservatives that were screaming and yelling about those years, screaming and yelling about, no, let's just, no, we just continue to, we don't, no. Chip Roy's a rhino. We need to get rid of him. He wants to actually reduce spending or offset, at least, not even, how about just offset the spending with new cuts? Can we get to a zero baseline? That's a radical position now. Punchbowl reporting now. House GOP is splitting the spending bill into smaller pieces. Hey, what a great idea. Allowing each piece to pass, fail individually. Oh, wow, look at that. Yeah, speaking of this, what do you think Russ Vaught is thinking? I can guarantee you he's not thinking that any of this is a good idea. Please answer my question, McD. Rebecca, I didn't see your question. Let me go back. I don't always have the chat in front of me. Rebecca, where's your question? Where is your question? Why don't you just ask it again? That might be quicker than me trying to find it. You want to ask it again, Rebecca? I didn't see it. Anyone hear Tucker's speech in Arizona last night? Okay, here we go. Why were Biden and Harris called back to the White House at midnight for an emergency? I think Joe needed to change his diaper. And I think he needed help, so she came back. Yep. No idea. I can't imagine it's anything important. Other than he's incapacitated, which is what we talked about the other night. Was it possible that she's 47 and Trump becomes 48 because something happens to him? I mean, we haven't really talked about it because obviously we're focused on this. But the fact that the Washington Post, the New York Times are now coming out, I mean, typical, and saying that not only could he never have served the second term, he barely served the first term. And it's like, oh, thank you. Thank you for being on top of it when it's way past any time that matters. And for calling all of us names for 4 years and telling us we were the bad people while we were pointing out the obvious. That's why you can't take any of these places seriously in any of their reporting. I wish YouTube chat would show dislikes, and when a chatter is censored, well, they're never censored here. And I don't think YouTube is censoring. I don't know. I saw the story of her rushing back from wherever, California, but yeah, I mean, no. And by the way, just to speak to that point, although I probably shouldn't, but I get so many questions about let me just put it to you this way. I am never for ever, unless it is so outrageous, removing a comment, censoring a comment, putting somebody in any kind of, I mean, unless obviously it's a joke. I think I jokingly put somebody in timeout once for 5 minutes, whatever. I am so against any of that. People write and go, oh, my comment got that. It's never, ever. I don't ban people. I don't block people. I don't care what anybody says. They can, if it's shots at me about something, it doesn't faze me whatsoever. And a lot of times I get questions about people on the show, where they are. Let me just say this. That feeling has not always been the same on the show. There have been some individuals who wanted complete and utter moderation of what was going on in the chat. But that will never happen. Ever, ever. But I did put Paul in the trunk, correct. Correct. Yes, it is what the social media platforms do, but I was talking about actually someone who was on the show, not the actual platforms. So. Bum, bum, ba, bum, bum. Let's see what else is going on out there. Okay, let's go through this whole post because this is good choice, Big D. I don't like not being able to watch you. Yeah. I'll just leave it at what I said. I'm not gonna. Believe me, the lineup on the show now has no interest in moderation of any chat, of any social, of anything, and never have. Okay, what was I just gonna do? Oh, do we want to do another bandle today? By the way, we want to do another bandle. That was fun. Exactly. Is Rav covering Kirk again? Yes, all day and tonight. But I do believe that we should have pretty much a regular show because I think the coverage is done before 8 o'clock Eastern. Unless they're delayed, maybe it runs a little bit into our first hour, but I don't think so. We'll see. We should be on tonight for a majority of the 2 hours. Okay, this is this. I have to tell you, I want to read the whole thing because I only read this beginning part. MTG says, I'm one of the most conservative members of Congress, and last night I voted for a bill that ordinarily I would never vote for. And then she says, however, the man that took a bullet to the face and won the presidential election with 312 electoral college votes and the most votes of any Republican presidential candidate in history asked me to vote for it, so I did gladly. So I read that much of it, and I wasn't really sure how I felt about that. Like, if you believe in something to your core, that it is evil to not only the country, but to your kids, your grandkids, the future of this great republic, you go against everything you believe in because your friend asked you to. So I want to read the rest of it to see what she says. After Mike Johnson completely failed us by not including us in the planning of this year's end government funding and then dumped 1,500 page omnibus on us Tuesday night with little time to read it and got caught, in his scheme with Schumer, McConnell, and Hakeem by all of the great American people here on X, along with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. It was President Trump's team, our incoming Vice President, J.D. Vance, and then President Trump himself that dove in the midnight hour and came up with a CR that solves the debt ceiling problem. Well, definitely does not solve the debts. I mean, solves the problem for now. Again, is what we've always done. For President Trump, okay, solves the debt ceiling problem for President Trump, and even more importantly, helped hurricane victims, farmers, and will keep government open. Of course, you could have a separate bill here for a vote, separate bill here for a vote. They shouldn't have had to do that, but they did. After the CR failed last night, I can assure you nothing good is coming behind it. But what is worse, in my opinion, is that we gave up critical opportunity to unite and pass our own CR, sending it to the Senate with a powerful message to Schumer and the Dems that come hell or high water, we are going to deliver for President Trump and the people who elected him. After this, let it shut down. I'll only vote to pay our military, border patrol, and key law enforcement and the very basics to keep running to 20th. House Republicans, we better figure out how to get this done next year, and that will require changes. I like the last part, and I like the opening sentence. This is a bill that she would normally have never voted on. I'm not sure about all the stuff in between. I don't know. Yeah, sure, Ken. I could do it one day from my iPhone. I can go live on you're on YouTube. Yeah, we can do it. What do people think about that? I'm genuinely interested. You change completely how you would vote for this, something that's this important, just because your friend and the leader of the party and the president-to-be tells you to. What do people think about that? So is that our? I mean, again, I just play this out. I just want to play it out. It's like you need a cheat sheet to know like what we stand for, or what we I don't. It's just so bizarre to me. Play it out. What happens again? Illegal immigration, very important issue. Just as spending, I thought, was in the election. Inflation in the election. Deficit spending in the election. All pocketbook stuff people voted for. So now, when the administration comes back and says to MTG, hey, we think that as President Trump said, every college graduate, whether they're from China at our universities, whether they're from wherever, should graduate with a green card. If he asks you to vote for that, is this your same position on all of these things? Maybe you should run for office since you happen to quote unquote know so much. I'm definitely not going to run for office, Keith. But if you'd like to add to the conversation with some answers to what I'm asking, instead of just making snarky comments to me, I would much prefer that. Again, like the question I'm asking now. Well, Keith, what's your position on spending? What's your position on illegal immigration? If Trump supports a position that you don't like, are you going to then support it just because it's his position? That's really all I'm asking. I would never vote for this, but, he asked me to, so let's pump another $10 trillion into the debt. No, we don't. No, we don't. No. We get along? Kumbaya? That got us here. We don't need to get along. We need to debate the issues and decide, once again, let me say, what we believe in and what we're going to go message to the American people and what we're actually going to stand behind. We don't need to get along. You think anything hard that's ever gotten done in this country that was all just kumbaya? I'm really interested in what people think about that. I would never vote for this bill, but I did because my friend asked me. The president asked me. Immigrants will rush to get, well, they're not going to have to even rush. They're going to get one upon graduation, according to his plan. At least that's what he vocalized. Very much so. And I don't think a smart is just a part of it. He's transactional more than anything else, which sometimes I guess can be work against you, maybe sometimes. But as a party, what do we believe in? We have to have some courage of some convictions. Do we believe in reducing spending or not? We've argued from the cheap seats. You know, it's always, the view is always good from the cheap seats when you're not in charge. We've argued, the party's argued, people on social media have argued, complained, bitched, and moaned about all these Republicans for the years. All of them. Weak, feckless, wussies. They give in. They bend over. They get screwed. They screw us. I mean, I don't need to tell you guys. And then the Tea Party. I posted this, by the way, speaking of, even in the Obama years, this is how the debt limit was used by the Tea Party conservatives in the House to leverage historic spending cuts, even amidst a Barack Obama presidency. The debt limit is a useful tool to cut spending. Well, it's only a useful tool if you actually keep it as leverage. It is also an important reminder that the credit card always comes due. Obama bailout, right here. The Budget Control Act, $654 billion in cuts. Think about this number now. This number is laughable now. Laughable. This is not even, this doesn't even. But you can see what happened when you leverage the debt ceiling. And then here's 2016. Boom. But if you don't have it as leverage because you've given all the leverage up, it becomes a little more difficult. So again, I end where I began. I think this is all healthy. I think it's messy. I think it needs to be had. I think what we should be, if we're going to look for positives, I think we should feel positive that we have men, two men specifically, each fighting for their side, that represent strong, you know, at least with some idea of what the conservative movement is looking for. At least I thought. And if they separate the bills and vote on them individually, it's what they should be doing. As if that's the report today. Cat turd, my goal in life for the next 2 years is going to be to primary Trump-hating Chip Roy and send him packing. If he sees this tweet, he'll laugh. I promise he won't be laughing when this happens. Take it to the bank. This is his future. Harriet Hagman, and Liz Cheney race. Actually, I'll laugh too when I see it. It's just amusing. I wonder if in all of the tweets today, maybe he'll tweet what representative aligns with his idea, if he has one, of what is the MAGA position on spending. Let's ask him. Let's do this. Here we go. Let's just do this. So can you articulate what your position is on spending? Okay, hold on. We get that you don't like Chip Roy. Got it. So can you articulate what your position is on spending in the America First MAGA world? And let's give capital on your. What representative most aligns? What representative? What should I say here? What representative most? Yeah, I think aligns. Right. Who is it? Okay. There we go. Do. Republicans would rather argue with each other to massage their egos than work together to be effective. I think that's part of it, but I don't know. I mean, you have to know what you believe in to be able to work towards being effective. Again, this is why I just stick on the Chip Roy thing. For everybody talking about Chip Roy, it's fine. You can hammer him all you want. Some things he's done that you don't like, things he said you don't like, people he's supported you don't like. Everybody's got something that somebody doesn't like. I mean, let's be true. Let's be real. The only thing that I care about when it comes to Chip Roy today in this argument is his position on this topic. So if his position is not your position, then who is your position aligned with? Bernie Sanders? Elizabeth Warren? Who is it? Mike Lee? Ted Cruz? Whose position? There was 38 Republicans. 38, not 5, not 7, not 2. We got slim majorities everywhere. There was 38 of them. I hear people on social media today, the Freedom Caucus, boy, they've been snatching victory from the jaws of defeat, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, or whatever the hell the saying is, for years now. Oh, really? Oh, really? The Freedom Caucus? Okay, we don't align with the Freedom Caucus anymore. All right. Okay, good. Where's my cheat sheet? Let me mark that one down. We don't align with the Freedom Caucus anymore. Okay, got it. We don't align with what Heritage calls a 100% approval rating on 97% lifetime score, 100% session score from Heritage Action for America. I guess they're a bunch of rhinos. Yep. The average House Republican comes in at 74. Average. That means there's some that are less. Maybe they align with spending on those Republicans. Come on, you're kidding me. Is this true? I say no more. I say no more. I didn't see it, so I'm just joking. I don't know what she said. Just crazy. Literally, just the whiplash politics is really crazy. Chip Roy needs to be primaried, and he's the rhino. if I hate to tell you, but if you don't align with Chip Roy on spending, I don't know. I don't think you're too worried about the debt. Then I don't think you're too worried, and that's fine. But that's your position. Like, that's your position that you believe in, and you'll go to the mat for, and you'll argue for. You notice all the people that are out there, the most heated, highly comment, the social media that have the biggest followings that are commenting, none of them are actually making policy arguments. It's all just personality, which is what we always complain the Republican Party is all about. It's just all about, again, you got one team playing the game on the field with brass knuckles, and then you've got another team that's gawking at the cheerleaders and looking up in the music booth. They're not in the game. They're all about the personalities and the grift. They're not about the actual outcomes. They're not about the outcomes. Because if you were about outcomes, then you would actually have something that you believe in and stick to it, no matter who told you what. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't. Maybe people don't agree with that. But it is interesting that I do believe this will get tested again when it comes to immigration. I have no reason not to believe that, because the president-elect has as much signaled it at least twice, with the green card statement and the dreamer statement. So all of these people who are taking positions against Chip Roy are going to be faced with that position too. So is their position going to be that 12 million people should all of a sudden just be okay to come into the country because now Trump has taken that position? They don't actually have a position themselves. Green cards for every college graduate is a position now we're going to accept just because that's his position. We don't have a position. You don't actually have a position yourself. Kathy, that's correct. Social Security payments and Medicare would still be paid. The VA would be paid. The military gets paid. All that gets paid in an order. There's always money coming in every single month. There's always money coming in. So all of that gets paid. So people don't really have a real grasp on government shutdown, what that means. You've always got tax receipts coming in every single month, way more than what they need, way more, if you actually look at the numbers, than what they need to do Social Security, VA, military, benefits, whatever those first 4 or 5 things are. You get down to like 6 or 7 before you even have to think about all the money that comes in every month would be spent. There's more than enough to cover that. Damon, are you trying to say that Trump has the position of giving green cards to illegals? I'm unclear how you're putting that. Well, no, I'm not trying to say. I'm just telling you what he said. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Give me a second. Okay, let's see. I don't know. I'll just take a chance on this one. Let's see.
And here in the United States, former President Donald Trump has taken a sharp detour from the anti-immigrant rhetoric that he constantly delivers on the campaign trail. Speaking to the media, the Republican said that he wants to give automatic green cards to foreign students who graduate from American colleges. The ex-president said that if he is reelected in November, he would implement this new policy on day one. Now, when asked why he wanted to give permanent residency to foreign students, the convicted felon said America is losing out on retaining top talent. The presumptive Republican nominee also said that many foreign students from India and China studying in prestigious colleges are forced to return home after not getting work visas after graduation. Trump says that he wants to retain more foreign students, particularly those from India who graduate from American colleges and universities. Now, more than 1 million international students study in colleges across the United States, contributing more than $40 billion to the American economy. Countries like China, India, South Korea, Canada, and Vietnam top the list for sending the most students to the United States. Now, immigration has been a core issue for Donald Trump and his campaign this election cycle. In fact, his recent stance on giving green cards to almost 1 million foreign students comes in stark contrast to his usual take on immigrants. In fact, just this week,
Okay. So is that going to be our position? Because my understanding is sometimes these green cards don't exactly get, the rules don't exactly get followed.
What I want to do and what I will do is you graduate from a college. I think you should get automatically as part of your diploma a green card to be.
Okay, so is that going to be when he takes this position and someone says, do we really think that that's a good idea? Because technically, once they overstay, once their green card, once they overstay, they're actually here illegally again. Is that going to be the position? And if we question it, are we going to be what's the cheat sheet on this one? I'm just wondering. Let's see if we can find some of the people who are screaming about this, what they said. Okay, let's see what we can find here. This 30-second excerpt of Trump's green card scheme shows how radically stupid his plan is. He says green cards should be automatic for all college grads, no vetting. He says those automatic green cards should be given even in just a 2-year junior college degree, not just for highly skilled workers in fields with shortages. Basically, everyone gets in under Trump's plan. Everyone. That's radically open immigration policy. Also interesting, he complains that COVID prevented him from implementing such a policy when he was president the first time. That's Trump's one regret from COVID. Here's the clip.
And what I wanted to do, and I would have done this, but then we had to solve the COVID problem because that came in and, sort of dominated for a little while, as you perhaps know. But what I want to do and what I will do is you graduate from a college, I think you should get automatically as part of your diploma a green card to be able to stay in this country. And that includes junior colleges, too. Anybody graduates from a college, you go in there for 2 years or 4 years. If you graduate or you get a doctorate degree from a college, you should be able to stay in this country.
So I guess we'll find out when that comes up if people actually believe in what we discussed over all this time about if immigration was really that important in the election too, like I thought spending was. How old is that? 2 months. Right before the election. That was on the All In podcast, which, by the way, was other than maybe that moment, he was fantastic. I mean, I'm assuming there's people who think that's a good idea. Now, from some of the comments I'm seeing. How many people are here on green cards already that are let me see something here. Hold on. Sorry. Where's the search bar? I can't find it. All right. Let's see what else is going on. If there's anything else going on, any updates on what we're doing today? Okay, let's go through what some of the people are saying. Then maybe we'll do a bandle before we wrap. Nancy Mace. Do we need to hear from her on the debt ceiling? Suspending the debt ceiling entirely at this point would allow Congress to add an unlimited amount of debt to. Oh, now now she's fiscally, I guess. She's fiscally conservative. Hasn't she voted to raise the debt ceiling like 100 times too? Suspending the debt ceiling entirely at this point. I think over at Heritage she's an F, by the way. To already 36 trillion national debt for 2 years with no reforms to rein in reckless spending. Suspensions or increases to the debt limit must be paired with spending cuts. I look forward to working with President Trump to enact the steep spending cuts, 1 to 3 trillion, paired with responsible debt ceiling increase through reconciliation. If we're going to raise the debt ceiling, it should be paired dollar for dollar with Trump's agenda to ensure the Washington establishment. Okay, well, now she's on board. Of course, this is the same thing as I've been telling you about Doge. All the people who voted and all the arsonists are going to tell us now how to use the water.
approaching midnight on Thursday night in D.C. I'm going on about 40 hours now with no sleep. Been quite a week. We have, in my opinion, failed the American people to produce a conservative package of bills that continue government funding through the end of the year and move us into the Trump administration, the smooth transition, performing our constitutional duty from January 3rd and January 6th. It's going to be quite challenging if the government shut down. Our speaker, I don't know what he's going to do. He's left with not many options. The original plan failed. You know, that bill it got out of hand. It was poorly negotiated, I think, and there's no point in placing blame for that. The point is, it was a bad bill, and I wasn't going to support it. And, you know, we made that very clear that we were not going to support that bill, and that bill fell apart. And I can't say we, but I calmly advised the leadership to go back to the table. And they did. They did. And the president and his people were very involved in the negotiations at that point, about a couple of days into this week. And they produced a bill that was much, much better. Ma'am, good night, ma'am. Much, much better than the original bill, like drastically better. And it was good enough that I supported the bill. Many members of the Freedom Caucus supported the bill, by the way. 14 of us voted yes. But the bill couldn't make it because it had sufficient no votes out of the Republican Party and all no votes out of the Democrat Party that the bill failed. And now, man, this is not America. This is not some random Friday in August on a non-election year. This is the Friday before Christmas in an election year. How many people do you know that are about to be off starting tomorrow night? When they get off of work, they're not coming back to work till after New Year's. You know, that's common. And, people take their vacations and they have, it's the holiday season, right? It's a Christmas season. And so the necessary employees and staff that are required to pass legislation and get new legislation written in.
I mean, I don't. You guys could all invest in, for all the money you spend. Why don't you spend some money on some damn calendars and hang them up around, and take some red marker and mark some things down. You guys all act like you didn't know, like you didn't. Oh look! Oh geez, look at it. What is it? December? Oh, it's snowing outside. Oh.
That means they lose one vote. If one person, because you have to have a majority, if it's 216 to 216, it fails. Let me tell you, this quote-unquote mandate that MAGA thinks exists, it ain't going nowhere, right? Because they literally can't do the basics. We have passed the least amount of bills in this Congress because of the Republicans. And let me remind you, because you brought up the debt ceiling. Remember why the last speaker got kicked out? It was because he raised the debt ceiling, and all of it. And Trump was the one calling for his head. Now he's like, raise the debt ceiling. You know why? Because his Trump tax cuts, this old con that he has, right, that helps out all the billionaires that he's putting into his administration, or at least is hoping to put into his administration, those Trump tax cuts, they expire in 2025. Mind you, he is the only president we've ever had that in one term ran our debt up to $8 trillion. So he already knows he's about to run our debt up, so he doesn't want to have to deal with the debt ceiling. Instead, he wants us to do it. Listen, I ain't got no favors for you, Trump. When you get here, then yes, you.
We elect these people. Some state elected her. They thought, yep, she's the best. Okay, the votes will be a CR to March, disaster relief, agriculture, no debt limit. That's where we are right now, as of an hour ago. 3 votes. Clean CR to March, disaster relief, the ag bill for farmers, no debt limit. Oh, okay. The War Room gang is backing the 38, and shout out to the 38 for holding the line. I couldn't tell where I listened to Steve last night, and I couldn't really tell where I thought he stood on this. And I was thinking, I just cannot believe that he would. He has been a fiscal. He's been as vocal about spending and deficits as anybody. How could he think this possibly is a good idea? Well, maybe they don't. Grace Chong, shout out to the 38 for holding the line. Yes, I agree.
Jordan Conrad's with Gateway Pundit. I'm here with Congressman Cory Mills. So, Representative Mills, how'd you vote on the new CR?
I voted no.
You voted no. Can you explain why that is?
Look, I've always said that I will not support a continuing resolution that spends that emergency COVID level spending that Pelosi put in place. We should be at a 2019 plus 3.5% average, which means we'd spend at roughly a 1.477 trillion rate. As of today, we're spending at a 2.23 trillion rate. That is not sustainable, and we will end up collapsing the entire country as a result of this spending. I will always support our farmers. I will always support our military as a veteran myself. I will always make sure that we support the disaster relief on the state of Florida. But what I can't do is allow them to go ahead and cram that into a bill to force you into a damned if you do, damned if you don't, no debt ceiling limits, and then go ahead and say, yeah, let's keep doing the same thing that Democrats do, but now because we're the Republican majority, that it's somehow right. So I think we can do this better. I think we can get more fiscally responsible. I think we can find fiscal sanity. But I think we can help the American people.
Right.
So we need to get President Trump's agenda to succeed, and we need to do that responsibly.
So what happens, real quick, what happens next? Does the
It'll
government
go to
shut
rules.
down?
No, it doesn't shut down until tomorrow. This was on suspension, which takes a 2/3 majority. It'll now go to rules. We'll make some modifications that people can live with, get it on the floor, get our government open, and take care of the American people.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, there you go. There you go. All right, everybody. We've been going. Oh, we want to do a let's see, do a daily bandle before we go. Okay. All right, here we go. Oh, what happened? All right, hold on. Okay, I broke it. Yes, I fixed it. Will you see us tonight on LFS 6B? Yes, Steve, we should be on. We're covering Charlie Kirk, but I believe it's going to end. If they're on time, it should end before 8 o'clock. If they're late, it could run a little bit into the 8 o'clock hour, but I wouldn't think that long. So we will be on. Kevin Downey Jr., myself, and Rick Delgado. Slick is off tonight. He has some personal things he's doing, but the three of us will be there at 8 o'clock. So, all right, here we go. You know how it works. Daily Bandle, guess the song. I'll give them to you piece by piece. Let's see what we got. Here's your drums. (2019) release. 841 million views on YouTube. Okay, If I Only Had a Brain from The Wizard of Oz. I don't think it's that. Joy to the People. Is that a song? I don't know that. Okay, I have no guess as of right now. Does anybody else have a guess? It's Up with People. All right, let's go number 2. Okay, I gotta hear. Oh, I gotta hit skip. Oh, someone said Take on Me. Oh, Maniac. Okay, we've got some good ones in there. Let's go next. Here we go. I know what it is. No, it's not Take on Me. It's released in 2019. 2019. Anybody got a guess? Right, Take on Me is an 80s song. This was released in 2019. I think I know what it is. If you have a guess, you have to start by typing the artist. That's how I'm going to judge who the winner is. I want to see the artist, then the song name. Don't just shout out song names because I don't even know. Okay, here we go. Next. Type the artist first. That's what will catch my attention. If I see the artist that I think it is, because I think I know what it is, then we'll take a guess. All right, Alex P. Keaton. I believe you are correct. That's my guess as well. Let's take a look. Is this the one? Oh, there's a couple. There's a bunch of them. What's the name of the song? Alex, I'm giving you first chance here. Alex? Alex says it's The Weekend, Blinding Lights. Here's your guess. 3, 2, 1. You are correct. Alex P. Keaton is the winner of today's Bandle. I loved your show back in the day, by the way. Alex B. Keaton, LFS6B at yahoo.com. If you'd like to send in your information, we'll send you a shirt if you want to pick one out with a size. And there you go. Good end. Good job. Good job. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me this morning. We'll talk more about all this tonight. 8 o'clock, live from Studio 6B. Have a great rest of your day.